to welcome you all on this presentation, live streaming on this subject. And the subject, as we all know, was anger or no anger. To be or not to be is the question. And like I said, that the subject had been close to me for my life, and I wanted to just express it properly here. So before we start the presentation, I would like to set some ground here. So I would encourage you to in the comments below, mention who you are, where you are from, whether you're watching live or you're watching replay. If you're watching live, please go ahead and put hashtag live, or if you're watching replay, then hashtag replay. At least that I'll know that the message did get conveyed to you. And do share your thoughts and opinions, like I had shared in the post also. What do you think about the subject? What is your thought around it, or your opinions on this subject? So I would really appreciate if you could do that as well. But in the meantime, we are going to proceed. So what are we going to cover in this session? In this session, we are going to see what anger is. And believe me, a lot of people think certain things about, or certain way about anger. Anger is not what we usually think it is. So that's why I said get ready for a surprise, because it is not what you think it is. It is actually true. So understand anger. You will be able to understand the anger better. It is not just an emotion. There is something very deep about it. So the clarity on this will transform your experience of it. Believe me, this is absolutely true. And effectively use anger as a tool for your benefit as well. And yes, as I said, anger is an utterly beneficial tool depending on how you use it. Now, with all that said, I want to make sure that I make myself clear on this. I'm not justifying the expression of anger in its raw form, or whatever, however it is projected. I am in no way also saying that anger is a good thing or a bad thing. I am being neutral on this. What I'm sharing is an expression where you need to understand anger as any other emotion that you have in your life. Just because the society says it, just because experientially we have a bad taste for it, doesn't make anger a bad thing. So obviously, when you understand it, you will be able to see how you can effectively channel the energy that gets expressed in a more positive way. So with that said, I'm going to move ahead. And after this session, you will never be able to blame anyone for your anger. That's a guarantee. So once you go through this session, you will not be able to blame anyone for your anger, because you will become aware of your friendship with the anger and will be able to understand it and appreciate and sympathize with people who are angry, rather than blaming, ridiculing, or demeaning them. Now, one of the things that because I said I have had a relationship with anger for so long, one of the things that I have personally felt is that when you don't feel understood, this is when the anger takes a form of violence. But if you do understand anger as an expression of energy, and a valid expression of energy, and try to understand it, then obviously you are going to get a very positive benefit out of it, and will be able to understand and appreciate it better. And you will have a healthy relationship with the people who probably have anger in their life, and you are not being friends with them, or they're not being friends with you, just because of that one aspect of their life. So this is going to be beneficial for you also, because that integration part that you're going to play, because of your understanding and appreciating the existence of this energy form, you will be able to holistically grow within yourself also. Because believe it or not, this cosmos that we live in, the life that we have, it's all inclusive in nature. There's nothing exclusive about it. You cannot exclude anything out there because there is no out there. Everything is inside. So whatever you're experiencing or feeling is happening inside. So if you don't like what you're feeling, you are actually not liking one part of yourself. So you may not have a preference for it, but not liking or hating is going to stir an emotion or a vibration inside of you that is of a discording nature. So my idea with this presentation is only to help you, get yourself away from that discording energy feeling about this subject, but just accept it as an expression of energy, and that's where I'm trying to take this conversation. So from this, after the session, you will also take necessary actions. Now I'm looking at this side of the screen because I have two screens. One here I'm talking to you with, and then there's another screen that I have here, which is where this particular presentation is running. So that's why you'll see me looking left and right here. So after this presentation, after this session, you will take necessary actions to address the situation, but without invalidating the anger and the angry. This is of immense importance for you, not for the person who is getting angry, or not for the anger itself, but for you it is of immense importance, because your relationship and experience with this energy projection or energy response is going to be different. So you are going to effectively channel yourself and maneuver yourself through this energy formation. So you will know beyond the shadow of any doubt why someone, including you, is at the receiving end of anger. A lot of times I have seen people say, he is angry with me, or that is angry with me. And I have also gone through that phase where I feel, why is this person angry with me? Or, why are they not talking to me? And believe me, most of the time, the answer that I have got by going inside, going inward to my, inner consciousness, is that nobody else but me, and I'm the only one responsible for my experience. So after this presentation, you will know beyond the shadow of any doubt why you are at the receiving end of anger, if at all, because it's all about resonance, it's all about energy, frequency, and matching through resonance. So you will feel empowered, stable, in control, considerate, positive. Now, I know these words are absolutely opposite of the subject that we are discussing. We are discussing anger, and I'm saying you will feel empowered, stable, in control, considerate, and positive. The reason why I'm saying this is because once you understand it the way I'm trying to share here, you are no more going to see anger as a negative thing, right? It's not that it is something that you would want to invite in your life, but you will no longer have an aversion to this entity or this expression of energy. It will exist as an entity. You will validate it as an entity, but you will have no emotional connection and emotional bonding, or chained to this concept or idea. You will be free from it. So you will be free, like I said in the last statement, you will be free from this anger situation. So what is anger? This is the first thing that I would like to mention. What is anger? Anger, according to dictionary, it's a strong feeling that makes you want to hurt someone or be unpleasant because of something unfair or unkind that has happened. Obviously, when you read this statement, you realize that even though it is trying to define anger, it is not telling you that. It is not telling you what anger is. It's telling you how anger is expressed or is experienced. But what is anger? That is what I'm trying to share here. And the anger, according to me, is just an expression. And it's an expression of energy. That's it. There is nothing beyond this in anger. It is an expression of energy, period. And that's where it ends. It's good or bad. I have a good experience or a bad experience. It's all subjective. and it's all dependent on what definitions or thought processes you have about this expression of energy. But by itself, this expression of energy is neutral, and just like any other expression of energy or the emotion, this emotion is also very, very, very valid. So the more you try to negate it, the more you try to cut it off, the more it's going to show up in your life, or for that matter, anybody's life who is trying to get away from anger. You do not have to get away from anger, you just have to understand it. Once you understand it, that energy will transcend and become powerfully focused for you to take you in a direction that you want to go, because you are going to drop the baggage that you have related to that expression, and you don't have any opinions or judgments about that expression. You validate it, and then once you allow it to exist the way it is existing in the environment or the universe, so as to say, then any thoughts that you have, any opinions that you have, any judgments that you have about it are going to drop, and you are free from those. And that's how you can take back the control of your life and then move forward in the direction with more renewed energy. So that's what it is, an expression of energy. And like any other energy, it exists, it's neutral, and it is valid. So I hear a lot of times people say, manage anger, or anger management tools are there, anger management courses are there. There's so many things that are related to anger management, but there is nothing out there that can tell you how to manage, how to understand it. Because if you do not understand your anger, managing is not going to take you anywhere. It's just like you're managing something that you don't even understand. So what are you going to do? So you need to understand your energy that you're expressing, and then perhaps talk about managing it, but not in the start. You need to understand your anger, you need to understand that expression of energy, and then focus and channel your and energy into managing it later on. So to understand anger, you need to understand yourself. Now this is a very, very close subject to me, close in the sense very close to my heart. Understanding yourself. This is the core of everything that I talk about, everything that I teach, everything that I express. It's all about understanding yourself, because everything that you do in life revolves around two things for its success. One, how much awareness do you have about yourself? How much understanding do you have about yourself? And what is it that you really want? The clarity about yourself and the clarity of what you actually want in life. These are the two main things. So as far as anger is concerned, to understand anger, you need to understand yourself. Now, when I go through this presentation, there are certain words that I tend to use. These are frequently used words that I have frequently used in my vocabulary. I whenever I'm talking, these are the words that you're mostly going to see me use. The energy, vibration, frequency, resonance, consciousness as the primary words. And then the secondary words, you can say, as expression, projection, inner world, outer world, reflection, integration, neutral, and resistance. So these are the words that you would see me use, hear me use. And if you have any question or opinion or thoughts about it, please don't hesitate to either put a comment in the post, or reach out to me, and then we can talk further on this. Now, understanding yourself. This is slide 1 of that subject. Understanding yourself. You are an energy signature frequency. That's what you are. When I say you are an energy signature frequency, what I mean is that There is no one in the entire universe other than you, like you. You are unique, and that's what makes you a signature frequency. There is no one like you in the entire creation. Your body is a crystallized extension of you, energy. So you are a non-physical energy by the core, and then your body is an extension of that energy. And that extension, because it's physical, that's why I've written crystallized extension. So your body is actually a crystallized extension of yourself. The non-physical energy is expressing itself in physicality within itself. Hence, you are a physical self inside a non-physical self. So that's why sometimes people say that my soul is inside of me. Well, that is an experience. The soul being inside of you is an experience. The reality is that your body is inside the soul, inside the energy. The energy constructs the body inside of itself because there is no outside. So where will the energy create and put the body? So it creates the expression of an body or an experience of a body within itself, and that's where experientially it resides. So you have a sense or a feeling that you are a soul within a body, but actually you are a body within a soul. So therefore, what I say is that you are not one, you are two in one. You are a physical body and you are a non-physical body or energy, physical energy, non-physical energy within your existence. So this is slide 2 in understanding yourself. Your physical self experiences reality conditionally. That means, if you remember, I shared the steer model that I had created. That steer model states that S is situation, T is thought, E is emotion, A is action, and R is result. So when you are experiencing anything physically, you are going through this process of steer. So you have a situation, you have thoughts around that situation because of your programming or your understanding or your concept that you have gathered over time. And then you have emotionality around that subject, around those, because of those thoughts. And since you have emotions, you have a situation, you have thoughts, you will be inspired to take some actions. And that's where the A or the action part comes in. And then obviously when you take action, you have a result, and that result you may or may not like, but the output is always going to be a result of your actions. So your physical body or physical existence is judgmental and uses reasoning. It is one of the faculties of your physical existence, reasoning. It reasons, and therefore that's why it has a separate existence of itself. You, I, or anybody in the cosmos or anything in the cosmos is just the same energy being expressed differently. So that differently part is actually the vibration frequency. The frequency of A is different from frequency of B, hence these are two different entities, but fundamentally they are same. In us humans, or for that matter animals as well, the ego is what gives us an identity. It is therefore but obvious to have a judgmental nature, but obvious to have a reasoning nature. Why is it important? Because I need to hold my identity as an entity, as an energy expression. Because if I don't hold that entity or expression or that reasoning or judgment, what is going to happen? I'm going to merge with the energy, and I'm going to lose that identity of myself. So in order for the energy to experience the life, it had to represent itself in the form of physicality, and therefore the ego was necessary. So that's why your physical self actually is judgmental and has a reasoning behind everything that it does. Now, the non-physical, on the other hand, which is your core vibration, is unconditional in nature. It experiences reality unconditionally. So what that means is that it is universally accepting in nature. So what that means is that it accepts all the situation, all the forms, all the thoughts, all the emotions, all the actions in the entire creation. Everything that ever happens anywhere, in whatever form it happens, it has a sense of acceptance to it. The core energy that I'm talking about, it has a sense of acceptance to it. Now, the reason why it has a sense of acceptance is because from the energy standpoint, all that is happening is an event or an energy expression. There is no good or bad about it. It is not subjective. It is just the self. So the self expressing itself in different forms. And that's why your non-physical is basically all accepting, all encapsulating, everything is itself. So it is unconditional in its love or expression or acceptance of you. Now these concepts may sound non-relevant at present, but believe me, as we proceed through the presentation, all of these things are going to become absolutely relevant to the subject that we are discussing. So please bear with me, and let's continue. The understand yourself means understand your anger. Your non-physical self validates everything. So what does that mean? It means that it does not invalidate anything in existence. It does not say that this should not exist, this should exist, this is good, therefore it must be finished. This is good, therefore we allow it to go. No. For the energy, for the non-physical self, it validates, it gives validity to each existence in creation. So there is nothing that it says that must be diminished or must be eliminated. No. Everything is acceptable to the non-physical energy. Your physical energy is egoic in nature. It has to invalidate everything that it is not. Because if it does not do that, and it accepts everything as the self, then it is going to lose the identity of the self, and therefore the very concept of energy extending itself into physicality to experience life is lost. That is why your physical self invalidates everything else that it is not it. So in essence, your inner self has accepted the situation and holds no charge or emotion because it is everything. It cannot hate itself. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. Sorry about that. So your physical self, on the other hand, the individualized self, because of its upbringing, emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and internal programming, like we talked about, has not accepted the situation and hence the conflict. So this is specifically, I'm talking about the anger, the understanding of the anger part. So your non-physical self gives acceptance to everything. Your physical self does not give acceptance to certain things because there are certain ways in which it has been brought up. There are certain belief systems that have been formed inside of it. And there is certain level of programming that automatically triggers inside of that individual. So obviously, there are certain situations that it is going to accept. There are certain situations that it is not going to accept. So that is a physicalized nature, the nature of a physicalized energy expression. So non-physical accepts it, physical doesn't accept it, and that's where the conflict arises. So the anger that we think that we are experiencing because of somebody else is not actually because of somebody else. So the anger is a result of the conflict of opinion between your non-physical self, which is all knowing, all accepting, and your physical self, which is not all allowing and not all accepting. Certain conditions are inbuilt in its acceptance criteria. So In essence, what happens is that when an event occurs, your consciousness, your inner consciousness, your energy self goes out and accepts it. But you are holding on to your energy. You don't want to go and accept it altogether, and you want to fight that. You don't want to accept this thing. Now your inner energy is already there. You are here. You are holding off onto your expression, and this tension that occurs between you and your inner self is what the anger actually is. The other people, the other situations become a blame game thing, right? If I may use that term. But essentially, all the anger that you have inside of you is a turmoil, is something that is within you, and a conflict between yourself, your physical self, and your non-physical self, and that gets expressed, sometimes violently as anger. So in reality, anger is not because of outside situations. Rather, it's because of destabilization of your energy inside of you, causing the disturbance in the energy outside of you, the inner state of being. The disturbance in the inner state of being gets reflected in the outer state of being, and therefore you see the expression of energy in the form of an anger. Now, you would have seen that most of the time, obviously nobody thinks before getting angry. They get angry, and the reason why they get angry is because that is an automatic response from the body. So I know I'm using the word response, but it is a reaction. But a reaction, my definition, if you would have gone to the previous presentation that I have had, my reaction, my statement of a reaction is, it's an practiced response. So your reaction basically is a practiced response. You have practiced your response enough times. You have practiced responding to a particular situation enough times in a certain way that it has now become your reaction. So that's why the previous live that we had, it was specifically about reaction and response, and why I was saying that reaction is usually not usually, but from my standpoint, the best way to express yourself. And the reason why I say is the best way to express is because it's effortless, it's in the flow, it's non-obstruction of yourself. So that's why the reaction, the anger, erupts itself in the form of a reaction, resulting in an undesired outcome. Now, this does result in an undesired outcome, but if your reaction becomes something that you have practiced positively, then your desired outcome will be positive in nature. But for this presentation, or for this subject right now, it's all about anger. So your reaction is leading into an undesired outcome. Now, essentially what's happening now is that the physical you, is upset with the non-physical you, and you are not aware of it. You're blaming other people, you're blaming other society, you're blaming other situations, you're blaming this, blaming that. You're not aware that the real problem is that you and your inner self, inner consciousness, are not talking or listening to each other. That is essentially what is happening. And your state of being, and this is what happens, your state of being will always bring more of its state into your experience. And therefore the cycle continues. So unless you understand what is going on inside of you, you will never be able to get out of the situation. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many courses you go to for anger management, you will not be able to get out of this situation unless you actually understand what is going on inside of you, why it is happening the way it is happening. Now, with that, we need to look at some fundamentals. Some fundamentals about the expression of energy. It is expressed with different emotions, and one of the emotions is anger. That's all where you have to stop. And then fundamentally look at this expression. And fundamentally, this is what's happening. You are a physical. I'm constantly repeating this this concept because this is the crux of the matter, and that's why this is important to understand. You are a physical and a non-physical state of being. You are either being in a physical state or you are being in a non-physical state. Non-physical is eternal and is constantly flowing. Your physical has a beginning and an end. Every state, whether physical or non-physical, is a vibration of energy. These are the fundamentals that I'm talking about. And from here we will grow up, we will go up. Each state attracts the situation, circumstances, events, people, and places into your experience. What does that mean? It means your non-physical self is working to attract the situations, circumstances, events, people, places into its experience that it wants to experience through you as a physicality. Right? So that is playing its role. It is powerful in its attraction form, in its attraction capabilities. And then there is you, physical you. You are also attracting certain situations, circumstances, or events because of your power, because of your ability, because of your understanding, because of your state of being. So your inner state of being and your outer state of being, now both are attracting events into your life. That's where we stop as a fundamentals. Any energy that gets expressed will always follow the path of least resistance. This is fundamentally very important to understand. And that's the differentiating factor why you have a reaction and you have a response. You are never born with a response. You are born with a reaction. The reason why you're born with a reaction is because this is the most natural way of expressing yourself. So every energy, the energy follows the path of least resistance to attract all of the above. Now your non-physical state attracts a situation in your life. That's a non-physical I'm talking about, not the physical. The non-physical, your core inner being. The non-physical energy or the state attracts a situation in your life for you to learn from it and take certain actions. Because realize that the non-physical self also has an agenda of itself that it wants to fulfill through you as a physicality, because you are the only one who can take action physically in the world. So the non-physical attracts a situation into your life for you to learn something from it so that you can take some actions, so that you can go in a certain direction in your life and then take some actions and then proceed in another direction of your life. And this is how the sequential experience of life happens. Your inner self, your non-physical self, is always guiding you by attracting situations and circumstances into your life so that you can integrate it. Now, that situation that it has attracted, from its standpoint, is neutral in nature. There is no inbuilt meaning in it, right? But we, as a physical entity or a physical crystallized extension of that non-physical, we give certain meanings to it. And the meaning that we give are based on the conscious or subconscious programming that we have had in our minds while we were growing up because of the experiences that we have had. Now, Now, since you two means the physical and non-physical, in you are at a discord, the expression that discord is witnessed is the release of this energy through the path of least resistance we talked about already. Now, reaction, and that's the reason. There's a reason why it's called reaction, because there is an action that you have already taken inside of you enough times that it has become an automatic response from you, and therefore the instant something happens, the very first thing that comes out is a reaction. You are acting again. Reaction. So reaction is a path of least resistance. Response is an obstruction in the free expression. Hence, response is not a path of least resistance. A reaction is. Anybody has any question on this? So hence, the vibrational expression of a discordant energy inside of you is expressed as anger via reaction outside of you. So generally, we put a blame on someone else because we have never truly accepted or understood anger. We believe anger to be an undesirable state, and therefore, if it should come up in our life, we want to believe that someone else has actually caused it, because we wouldn't be doing certain things in our life. Why would we? But we don't realize that it is our own understanding of the concept. If it is our own state of being which is actually causing all of this to come as a result in our life. Now, this results in a total neglect and disregard of the learning from this experience, and you have lost it. So once you have seen the expression, once you have experienced it in your life, you should have learned something from it. But once you blame it and then make someone else responsible for it, then you have, in other words, let go of that opportunity that was there, that presented itself to you to learn something more about yourself, and you have not learned. So what happens is, since you have not integrated this learning from this event, you're bound to face other such events, causing you to increasingly become violent till you get the message. And this is what you probably have seen it in your life also. The more you get angry is a telltale sign that you have not actually understood it. When you have not understood it, you are automatically going to remain in that cycle of reaction and then result, and then reaction, and then result, a situation, and then reaction, and then result, a situation, reaction, and result. You are never going to get out of it. So the only way to get out of it is to understand it. What is your anger trying to tell you? What is that expression trying to tell you? Right? So even if you, the thing that I said is that even if you learn to manage your anger, not understanding will cause you to suffer its eruption at any loose moments in your life. So you may have gone through the anger management classes or the courses and everything, and you're thinking that you've managed your anger. But essentially, what you have done is you have suppressed the energy that was already there. You have not understood it. You have not cleaned it. You have not, integrated it into your existence. You have just let it sit there the way it is. So essentially, what is happening is that it is occupying this space. You would have seen your garage or your home, right? The things that you don't want, they are still sitting in your house, and they're occupying space. So when you have not understood this expression of energy, when you have not taken time to look into it, what you're going to do is that you're going to fold it up and then leave it in the closet of your inner being. And then it stays there for however long it takes, it stays there. And then it constantly keeps on attracting other situations. You do not realize that this is what it's doing. From your standpoint, you have tucked it inside, but that's not the end. It is still, it is vibration, it is energy, it is interacting with the world outside of you also. So it is constantly in the motion, bringing other elements into your life that you don't like, and you are fed up, you don't like it, and you want to know what is happening. but you can't figure it out because you have tucked it inside. You have not taken time to understand it. You have not become friends with it so that it can tell you what it's trying to express. So the idea in this presentation is just to make you aware that don't leave anger stay inside of you just as as an energy that you don't care about. Look at it, try to understand it, integrate it, and then transcend it. And that's why I say learning to use the knife is much more effective than learning to keep yourself safe from it. And that's what the thing that I was talking about was, when you say I'm managing my anger, this is total nonsense. Forgive me for use of the word, but it is total nonsense. When you manage your anger, you have not understood your anger. What are you managing? Are you managing the things that you don't even understand? Who made you a manager then? From my standpoint, an effective manager knows his team. An effective manager knows what his team is doing, what content they are dealing with. So even if you want to manage anger, you need to understand what it is first. So that's why I say that even if you learn to manage your anger, not understanding will cause you to suffer its eruption at any loose moment in your life, and you would not even know why it happened. Now, how do you change it? The thing is, you can't. The only way you can change it, if at all, by if I use and if I go with what I have written here, by not needing to change it, and we'll come to what changes later on. The only way to change the situation in your life is by not needing to change it. If there is a need that you associate with it, then what essentially you are saying is that you have you don't internally believe that there is an already existing version which is free from it. So you are attaching yourself to the existing disruptive energy and you don't want to do it. So first of all, what we have to do is that let it sit there. Just objectively look at it and don't have any need to change it. So how do you change it? By not needing to change it. So nothing changes in the world. Change is an illusion. That's what I said. And why did I say the change is an illusion? Because what is happening basically is our consciousness is shifting through, I should use the word, the parallel realities, billions and billions and billions of times per second. So essentially, when you see that you have moved my hand from here to here, I have not moved my hand. My conscious awareness has actually moved from parallel realities to parallel realities billions of times in a second, giving me, the physicality, an illusion that the change has occurred. But change has not occurred. My consciousness has shifted from this to this to this to this to this reality, and I feel, the physical me feels, that I have actually moved from here to here. No, I have not moved. My physical self, which was here, is still here, but I'm not aware of it. That's what has happened. So that's why I say nothing changes in the world. The change is an illusion. Change is an experience, not a reality. So that's why I said, when you see that I have moved my hand from here to here, I have actually experienced the change. The change has not occurred. I have experienced it. Now, there's a huge difference between the two. I'm not going to get into that concept right now, but the experience of a change and change are entirely two different things. So change is an experience. Change as an experience is actually a constant shifting of consciousness through the levels of awareness of itself. And we'll get into that details later on, not in this, but realize that this is what's happening. So how do you change it? By not needing to change it. Now, So to change something, including anger, is basically to raise the level of awareness. Like we said in the previous statement, right? The change is an experience. The change as an experience is actually a constant shifting of consciousness through the level of awareness of itself. Level of awareness is what I use the word. So to change something, including your anger, is basically what's happening is to raise the level of awareness of yourself, to know yourself better, the core of your being, thereby changing the experience of the inner state of being, which gets reflected in the outer state of being. So what is happening is your inner state of being is shifting through the parallel realities billions of times per second because of its state that it has inside of you. Because of the state that it has inside of you, that state gets reflected outside of you as an outer state of being. So you have an inner state of being, and then you have an outer state of being, right? The anger is an energy expression, like any other expression, and like all other expressions in creation, it can exist without you having to experience it. So when you become more aware of yourself, you realize that anger just is. It just exists as an option for you to experience. So like all other emotions that you can experience, anger is just another experience or another emotion that you have an option to experience. Whether you want to experience it or you don't want to experience it is always going to be your choice. So we make that choice sometime consciously, sometime unconsciously, but essentially the anger is basically a choice. But why do you experience it? The why you experience it is because you're, like we said, the inner and the outer version of yourself are not in harmony with the point of attention, the subject. So what do you do? What you do is this. Now let me expand this so that you see it. If you try to kill anger, let me put it here this way. If you try to kill anger, anger will kill you. Realize that this is an energy expression and one of the most violent expressions of energy. So if you try to kill, which is already very violent in nature, you are essentially asking for trouble. So if you try to kill anger, anger will kill you. So what do? You do not invalidate its existence. It is valid. It may not be your preference, but as an expression of energy, it is valid. Like I said earlier also, it is a valid form of acceptance, of expression. So when you say no more hatred in the world, no more anger in the world, I don't want it, you're essentially asking for it. So what do I mean by that? So when I say I don't want a red apple, what image comes to your mind? Red apple, right? And what did I say? I did not want it. So anything that I don't want in my life will show up in my life because I don't want it. The energy doesn't care about whether you want it or you don't want it. All it cares about is your focus. You're focused on the red apple. Whether you want it or you don't want it, it doesn't care. It's looking at your focus. That's what you're focused on. So I'm going to give you more of this. So do not try to invalidate its existence. It's valid. Accept the validity of it. Now you shift your point of attention or focus intentionally to a more desired outcome without invalidating the feeling of anger. Feeling of anger exists, let it stay as valid. Give full validity to it. It's valid, you can stay. But my preference is not you. I prefer this, and then go in that direction. So it's similar to, You know how you have spices in spice rack, right? Or spices, or let's say sugar, all together sitting on the one shelf. You can allow the chili, for example, chili flakes, to exist right next to the sugar without invalidating the existence of chili flakes. You use chili flakes when you want to use them, and you use sugar when you want to use it. But just because you have a preference for sugar, you want to just, get rid of the chili. Well, you never know when you might need chili. Anger is like that. Anger is that chili. You never know when you might need it. All that you must know is that this chili has a certain attributes. Become aware of it, understand it, and then you can use chili effectively in whatever you want to prepare. So practice being in your preferred state for an extended period of time, and do it on a regular basis, even when you're not in the state of anger. So don't do this practice or activity of trying to stay in the preferred state or thinking about a preferred state when you're angry. It is not going to work. The way it's going to work is, once you have expressed yourself even angrily, and since this is the subject of the topic of this subject, topic of discussion here, so we are going to continue with that. Let's say you have expressed yourself angrily. You have used the least resistance method of reacting. You have reacted to a situation, the anger, you got a result, and then you're back in state now. In your got away from that standpoint. Now your effort should be to understand. Go back in that statement. Go back in that whatever has happened. Try to understand what you learned about yourself from that situation. That is the whole point of that anger, right? That is the whole point of that situation that caused you to have anger. So nothing is happening in your life by chance, right? Everything has a reason for existence. So that situation that caused you to get angry has a reason to exist. Your anger that you experienced has a reason to exist. And you need to understand, what is the reasoning of existence in my life? Once you have understood it, then you can do something about it. If you don't understand it, what are you going to do? Right? So once you have understood it, then practice being in your preferred state for an extended period of time, so that slowly and gradually you do not feel the anger or the impulse of reacting in an unpreferred way for any given situation. Now, what can you do? These are the things that I've found to be very, very effective, that you can actually use to get into your more preferred state. Meditation is the top of the line. I cannot stress that enough. I have seen it personally. I have seen it with people who have experienced it themselves. It cannot replace any other thing. Meditation is the key. Then one of the things that we have recently started doing in our meditation, so we do meditation every day at 8 o'clock. And if you're watching this live, look for a post somewhere in this group where it says meditation, 15-minute meditation. At 8 o'clock we do it. A lot of people from different parts of the world are joining right now. So we do that every day, meditation. And the other thing that we've added is the gratitude journaling right after that. So once the meditation gets over, we get into the meditation journaling. Everybody who is attending is encouraged to write. They do write it. And we spend about 10-15 minutes in gratitude journaling, or writing the positive aspects. So you can actually begin with when you're talking about an anger. Let's talk about an anger from the positive aspects itself. Create a book called Book of Positive Aspects, and when you are experiencing anger, obviously that anger is somewhere embedded in you. And the only reason why you would keep anything with you is because it is of certain benefit to you. Otherwise, why would you keep something that is distasteful, right, with yourself? The reason why you are keeping that anger is because somehow there is a definition inside of you that is positive for it in you. Try to figure it out. How are you positively, even though you are experiencing it as negatively, labeling this expression as, right? So there is something inside of you that is inviting this anger all the time. Even though you don't like it, but there is something that is inside of you that you are inviting it from. Get in touch with it. You will know why you are inviting it and whether do you want to continue inviting it this way. If not, then what do you want to do? Okay, I want to invite some other thing or give space to some other thing, and then go focus on that, if that's what your preference. And then when you do that over a period of time, what is going to happen is your invitation to anger is going to gradually over a period of time reduce, and that anger will no more come into your experience because you're not inviting it at all. And for that, the steps that you have taken are meditation, gratitude journaling, book of positive aspects, writing positive aspects of all the things in your experience, reading, listening, or engaging in a self-reflective material like the one that we are having right now, or the posts that we have. So the posts that I put in the Facebook group, obviously they are essentially to start those thought processes inside of us, to just get them to on surface, so that you can become aware of what is going on inside of you. I do that all the time for myself. Before writing a post, I actually go through that process of figuring out what the post that I'm writing here for the benefit of my online family in this group, what benefit have I got from this particular post that I'm sharing. It is only then that I share that post with you. So I go through that process myself, and then I share it with you. So I encourage you to start, if you have not done so far, start coming to the Facebook group, Facebook lives, and start responding and engaging with the conversations that we have there. And go online in the Facebook also. Introduce yourself. Tell people about what you do, how you can help others, what qualities do you bring to this group, what help can you provide to other people. This is how the community grows, right? This is how the family is structured. We help each other. What fun is that I keep on posting, and and we don't take that conversation any further, right? So reading, listening, or engaging in self-reflecting material is also going to boost your energy awareness, is going to boost your vibrations to a higher level, thereby eliminating these lower vibrational experiences as something as anger. So all of this will sufficiently raise your vibration, thereby moving you towards allowance and understanding of your state of being. So slowly, your inner state will experience a shift, which will translate into more preferred experiences of your outer state. You will love it just for it being an expression in creation, as creation. And I'm talking about anger here. I'm not saying you're going to love the anger. I'm saying you're going to love the expression as an existence. Big difference. You will love it for it being an expression in creation as creation. You will allow its existence with an intention to express it at will, like any other expression or emotion. You will become friends with it, and this is how you transcend anger. This is the only way I know of that you can transcend your anger into a more positive and positive experience of life. So coming towards the end of the presentation here, please remember that all the experiences that you have, or for that matter anybody has, are dependent on your state of being. Who are you being in that state? You never get what you want. You always get who you are being, who you are. So if you are not inherently an abundant person, mentally, you don't have to have money in your bank account to feel abundant. You have to have a state of being abundant. And that state has nothing to do with your external world. Your state is within you. So if you have a state of being abundant, you are going to attract abundance in various forms into your life. And if you have the state of being, negative, then you're going to attract negativity into your life. Essentially, that is how your life experience is structured. Your state of being determines what next comes into your experience, and that forms your basis of the next experience, and so on and so forth. Another thing to remember is the external world is a representation of your inner world. No other way. This is the only way. Your external world is a direct reflection of your inner world. The external world is physical in nature. The inner world is vibratory in nature. Something that you may not be seeing in your external world, which is physical, and you have created it in your internal world, the non-physical, it is going to bleed into the external world slowly and gradually, depending on your level of awareness, your beliefs that you have about that expression. So whatever you hold inside is going to get reflected outside sooner or later. So if you want certain experiences in your life, go for it internally first. Experience them fully internally first. That is going to lead you into taking some actions, inspired actions that you would not even think about in your current state. So you have to build a state of being inside of you first. That state of being gives you actions or nudges or inspiration to take some action. Your job now is to go do and take those actions, and then your life will transform. In this case, the anger, if you don't want an anger, what is it that you want? Focus on that. Create that state of being happy inside of you. Create that state of being understood inside of you. Once you have created that state of being inside of you, of being understood, of being happy, of being sufficient, of being enough, of being abundant, of being peaceful, prosperous, healthy, when you have created all those states inside of you and you are in that state of being all those things, then essentially what's going to happen is that slowly and gradually things will start changing in your external world. That is why I said external world is a representation of your inner world. External world is physical. That's why it takes a little longer for you to get something. Inner world is vibrational. You can instantly snap into a creation of yours through imagination, and there you are. The more vivid you are in your experience of your internal state, the sooner you are going to see the expression in the external world. So raising the vibration of your inner world is the only way to experience the change in your outer world. So change is an illusion, but you're going to experience the change. And last, don't hate anger. Understand it. Become friends with it. And remember, sometimes it is the only friend that saves your life. I have seen that in my life as well. Thank you. With that, I'm going to conclude this this session. Thank you very much for joining me today. And for all those who are going to watch it as a replay, please do mention #replay so that I know that the message did get through to you. And if you have any comments or suggestions or thoughts, or you want, you would have wanted me to say something else or express certain aspects that I have missed here, please don't hesitate to comment in the chat or in the comment on the post also for this. And then we'll try to improve in the next live when we get online. So I will soon be posting what we are going to cover next week, so that if you have any thoughts around it, I would encourage you to share your thoughts and opinions on the subject. For today, it's anger. Go ahead and post what you thought about how this presentation was. Liked it, you didn't like it, whatever it is. Be open. I'm always ready to see whatever comes my way in terms of comments or thought processes. With that, I'm going to conclude this session, thanking you enough for taking time to be online and watching this presentation for over an hour now. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye bye.